Top 25 GRC Interview Questions and Answers. GRC stands for Governance, Risk, and Compliance, and it plays a major role in helping organizations operate ethically, securely, and legally. Companies hire GRC professionals to manage policies, reduce business risks, follow regulations, and improve internal controls. In interviews, employers usually test your understanding of risk management, compliance frameworks, audits, security controls, and stakeholder communication. The following GRC interview questions and answers will help beginners and experienced candidates prepare strong, professional, and practical responses for job interviews in governance, risk, compliance, audit, and cybersecurity roles. 1. What is GRC? GRC stands for Governance, Risk, and Compliance. Governance means how an organization is directed and controlled. Risk management focuses on identifying, assessing, and reducing threats that may affect business objectives. Compliance ensures the company follows laws, regulations, standards, and internal policies. GRC helps businesses make better decisions, avoid penalties, protect data, improve accountability, and maintain trust with customers, regulators, employees, and stakeholders. 2. Why is GRC important for an organization? GRC is important because it helps organizations operate responsibly, reduce risks, and meet legal requirements. Without GRC, companies may face financial losses, cyber attacks, regulatory fines, reputational damage, and poor decision-making. A strong GRC program connects business goals with risk controls and compliance obligations. It also improves transparency, accountability, and operational efficiency by ensuring every department understands its responsibilities and follows approved policies, procedures, and standards. 3. What are the main components of GRC? The main components of GRC are governance, risk management, and compliance. Governance includes policies, leadership, roles, responsibilities, and decision-making structures. Risk management involves identifying, analyzing, prioritizing, and treating risks. Compliance focuses on following laws, regulations, industry standards, and internal rules. Together, these components create a structured system that helps organizations manage uncertainty, protect assets, meet obligations, and achieve business objectives in a controlled and ethical way. 4. What is governance in GRC? Governance in GRC refers to the system of rules, processes, responsibilities, and leadership practices used to guide an organization. It ensures decisions are made properly, business goals are clearly defined, and employees understand their responsibilities. Good governance promotes accountability, transparency, ethics, and strategic alignment. In GRC, governance helps connect risk management and compliance activities with the organization's overall mission, objectives, values, and performance expectations. 5. What is risk management in GRC? Risk management in GRC is the process of identifying, assessing, prioritizing, and reducing risks that may affect business operations or objectives. Risks can include cybersecurity threats, legal issues, financial losses, operational failures, vendor problems, and reputational damage. A GRC professional evaluates the likelihood and impact of risks, recommends controls, monitors mitigation plans, and reports key risks to management so informed decisions can be made. 6. What is compliance in GRC? Compliance in GRC means ensuring that an organization follows applicable laws, regulations, standards, contractual requirements, and internal policies. Compliance activities may include audits, policy reviews, employee training, control testing, reporting, and regulatory monitoring. The goal is to prevent violations, fines, lawsuits, and reputational harm. A strong compliance program also builds trust with customers, regulators, investors, and business partners by showing responsible and lawful operations. 7. What is the difference between risk and compliance? Risk focuses on uncertainty and potential events that could negatively affect business objectives, while compliance focuses on meeting required laws, rules, and standards. A risk may or may not be connected to a regulation, but compliance failures often create legal and financial risks. In GRC, both areas are connected because organizations must understand risks, while also ensuring they meet mandatory obligations and internal control requirements. 8. What are common GRC frameworks? Common GRC frameworks include ISO 27001, NIST Cybersecurity Framework, COBIT, COSO, ITIL, PCI-DSS, SOC2, and GDPR-related privacy frameworks. These frameworks help organizations build structured controls, manage risks, improve governance, and meet compliance requirements. The choice of framework depends on the company's industry, regulatory environment, business goals, and security needs. GRC professionals should understand how frameworks support risk assessment, control design, and audit readiness. 9. What is a risk assessment? A risk assessment is a structured process used to identify risks, evaluate their likelihood and impact, and determine how they should be managed. It helps organizations understand which risks are most serious and where controls are needed. During a risk assessment, teams collect information, analyze threats, review existing controls, assign risk ratings, and recommend mitigation actions. The results support better decision-making and risk prioritization. 10. What is a risk register? A risk register is a document or system used to record and track identified risks. It usually includes the risk description, owner, category, likelihood, impact, risk rating, existing controls, mitigation plan, due date, and current status. A risk register helps management monitor risks and ensure proper actions are taken. It also provides visibility, accountability, and evidence for audits, compliance reviews, and executive reporting. 11. What is inherent risk? Inherent risk is the level of risk that exists before any controls or mitigation measures are applied. It represents the natural exposure of a process, system, or activity to threats. For example, storing customer data online has inherent cybersecurity risk before security controls are considered. Understanding inherent risk helps organizations determine how serious a risk could be and what level of control is required. 12. What is residual risk? Residual risk is the level of risk that remains after controls and mitigation actions have been implemented. No control can remove every risk completely, so organizations must decide whether the remaining risk is acceptable. For example, encryption and access controls can reduce data breach risk, but some exposure may still remain. GRC professionals monitor residual risk and report it to management for acceptance or further action. 13. What is a control in GRC? A control is a process, policy, procedure, technology, or activity designed to reduce risk or ensure compliance. Controls can be preventative, detective, or corrective. Preventative controls stop problems before they happen. Detective controls identify issues, and corrective controls fix problems after discovery. Examples include access reviews, encryption, segregation of duties, employee training, audit logs, approval workflows, and incident response procedures. 14. What is the difference between preventative and detective controls? Preventive controls are designed to stop errors, fraud, security incidents, or compliance failures before they occur. Examples include passwords, approvals, access restrictions, and employee training. Detective controls identify issues after they happen or while they are happening. Examples include monitoring, reconciliations, audit logs, and security alerts. Both controls are important because preventive controls reduce chances of incidents, while detective controls support quick identification and response. 15. What is control testing? Control testing is the process of checking whether a control is properly designed and operating effectively. A GRC professional may review evidence, interview process owners, inspect system settings, or test samples. The purpose is to confirm that controls reduce risk and support compliance requirements. If a control fails testing, the issue is documented, assigned to an owner, and tracked until remediation is completed. 16. What is an audit in GRC? An audit is an independent review of processes, controls, policies, systems, or records to determine whether they meet required standards and objectives. Audits may be internal or external. In GRC, audits help verify compliance, identify control gaps, improve processes, and provide assurance to management and regulators. A GRC professional supports audits by preparing evidence, coordinating with stakeholders, responding to findings, and tracking remediation actions. 17. How do you handle audit findings? I handle audit findings by first understanding the root cause, business impact, and risk level. Then I work with the responsible team to create a realistic remediation plan with clear ownership and deadlines. I document the issue, track progress, collect evidence of completion, and validate whether the corrective action works. Strong communication is important because audit findings must be resolved properly and reported accurately to management. 18. What is a compliance policy? A compliance policy is a formal document that explains rules, responsibilities, and expected behavior related to legal, regulatory, or internal requirements. It helps employees understand what they must do and what actions are prohibited. A good compliance policy is clear, accessible, approved by management, regularly reviewed, and supported by training. Policies are important because they create consistency, reduce confusion, and provide evidence of governance. 19. How do you keep up with regulatory changes? I keep up with regulatory changes by monitoring official regulator updates, industry newsletters, legal briefings, professional groups, and compliance alerts. I also work with legal, audit, risk, and business teams to understand how changes affect the organization. When a new requirement appears, I assess the impact, update policies or controls, communicate changes to stakeholders, and ensure evidence is available for future audits or reviews. 20. What is third-party risk management? Third-party risk management is the process of identifying and controlling risks created by vendors, suppliers, contractors, and service providers. Organizations often share data or rely on external partners, so vendor failures can create security, compliance, operational, and reputational risks. GRC teams assess vendors through questionnaires, contracts, security reviews, risk ratings, ongoing monitoring, and remediation tracking to ensure third parties meet business and compliance expectations. 21. What is the role of GRC in cybersecurity? GRC supports cybersecurity by creating policies, assessing cyber risks, mapping controls to frameworks, monitoring compliance, and reporting security posture to leadership. While technical teams implement security tools, GRC ensures controls are aligned with business objectives and regulatory requirements. It also helps with incident response planning, access governance, vendor security reviews, security awareness, audit readiness, and continuous improvement of the organization's overall security program. 22. What is a compliance gap analysis? A compliance gap analysis compares current practices against required laws, standards, policies, or frameworks to identify missing controls or weaknesses. For example, an organization may compare its security controls against ISO 27001 or SOC 2 requirements. The result shows what is compliant, partially compliant, or non-compliant. GRC professionals use this analysis to create remediation plans, prioritize improvements, and prepare for audits or certifications. 23. What skills are important for a GRC professional? A GRC professional needs strong analytical, communication, documentation, problem-solving, and stakeholder management skills. Technical knowledge of frameworks, controls, cybersecurity, audits, and regulations is also important. Since GRC involves working with many departments, professionals must explain risks clearly to both technical and non-technical audiences. Attention to detail, business understanding, ethical judgment, and project management skills help ensure risks and compliance activities are handled effectively. 24. How do you prioritize risks? I prioritize risks by evaluating likelihood, impact, business criticality, regulatory importance, and existing control strength. High-impact and high-likelihood risks usually require immediate attention, especially if they affect sensitive data, legal obligations, financial stability, or customer trust. I also consider management's risk appetite and available resources. After ranking risks, I recommend mitigation plans, assign owners, set deadlines, and monitor progress through regular reporting. 25. Why should we hire you for a GRC role? You should hire me because I understand the connection between governance, risk, compliance, controls, and business objectives. I can identify risks, document processes, support audits, communicate with stakeholders, and help improve compliance programs. I am detail-oriented, responsible, and focused on practical solutions. I also understand that GRC is not only about rules, it is about helping the business operate safely, legally, and efficiently. Preparing for a GRC interview requires more than memorizing definitions. Candidates should understand how governance, risk management, compliance, audits, controls, policies, and frameworks work together in a real organization. Strong answers should show practical thinking, clear communication, and awareness of business impact. Employers want candidates who can reduce risk, support regulatory requirements, improve processes, and work well with different teams. By practicing these GRC interview questions and answers, you can build confidence and present yourself as a professional, reliable, and well-prepared candidate.